Naruto, God-level system author, Blue Water God. Chapter 281 Blackening with Soil. Nawaki hasn't finished Namikaze Minato. Xiao, who came back from the moon, looked at Nawaki and Namikaze Minato who were still fighting in surprise. It's been over an hour since he left. The Nawaki has not yet defeated the wave of Water Gate, and the perfect fairy body was wasted. Why are you back? Duke Sanai glanced at Xiao with dissatisfaction on her face. Of course I'm coming back to see my wife. Xiao reached out and hugged Kushina and kissed her on the face. Xiao's four little apprentices blushed and snorted softly. Sarah and Trumim were extremely envious. After the envy, they glared at each other, snorted coldly, and ignored the other. If it wasn't for Sarah, Trumim, who got in the way, I would have become a woman of Xiao. And it might be me who is being held now. The two girls thought to themselves. Tsunade pushed Xiao without a trace, interrupting their sympathy, and then said, Shengshu is merciful, otherwise that guy's apprentice would not be able to hold on long ago. I see, it's a relationship, right? Xiao nodded clearly. It seems that the two have a deep relationship. Nawaki is reluctant to start. Alas. Tsunade sighed, with a worried look on his face. Shengshu was the last male of the Kaienzu family, so don't really become gay. Let's go. Xiao pulled the girls away, and there was nothing to see. This time Konoha lost the battle. This is indeed the case. Konoha lost this battle, facing the impact of Yanin. Konoha was finally defeated and was driven back dozens of miles. Namikaze Minato was also defeated and won by Nawaki, but in the end, due to his former friendship, Nawaki released Namikaze Minato again. When Oyemu saw it, he wanted to vomit blood in anger, and cursed Ropeshu in his heart. Sand Ninja's side also won a big victory. Jiaodu held Jiraiya back, Liu Ocean tangled Okimaru, Xiao controlled the 10 people of Kinmatsu, and killed the Konoha Ninja Legion. Especially without Tsunade, Chiyo's poison could not be cracked. Konoha was extremely passive when facing Sand Ninja Puppet Master, and suffered heavy casualties. Faced with this situation, Konoha can only retreat backwards, and has already withdrawn to the country of fire. This time in the third battle, Konoha was beaten until his nose was blue and his face was swollen, and there was nothing he could do. Who made it different from the original? The 4 major ninja villages attacked at the same time. Konoha can only withstand the pressure, and has no strength to fight back. At this time, the advantages of the Fire Nation were also reflected, spending a lot of money and constantly buying detonating charms. With a lot of detonating talismans, Iwanin and Sand Shinobi who were chasing after the victory were blocked. Looking at the detonating talisman array prepared by Konoha, the detonating talisman thrown in the air, Oyegi and Liu Osha's eyes were red. This is really too rich, and jealousy makes them unrecognizable. Under the stalemate between the two sides, the two villages that had won the battle, Yanran Village and Sharon Village, couldn't hold on anymore. But let them retreat, they will definitely not be reconciled, and finally hit the border of the Fire Nation. How can they retreat easily? It's not good, Obito. Beige told me that your 2 companions seem to be in danger. Uzumaki absolutely shouted. Obito, looking anxious. What? Are Kakashi and Panasonic in danger? Obito, who had been leaning against the wall in silence, suddenly jumped up. No, I have to get out quickly. Obito got up in a hurry, but looking at the entrance of the rock hole, he turned around in a hurry. Do you want me to help you? Uzumaki came up. Obito looked at him warily. To be honest, Obito is quite vigilant about this person who is neither a ghost nor a ghost, and the undead Uchiha Madara called Uchiha. I always feel that Madara Uchiha is not a good person, just by her looks. Madara Uchiha was indeed handsome, but Madara Uchiha now looks a bit hot. When Obito first saw Madara Uchiha, he thought he was the of death in hell. If you look good, will you still be considered the of death? Why do you want to help me? Didn't the old man not let me leave? The old man Uchiha Obito said was Madara Uchiha. If it weren't for the lack of time to find other pieces, Madara Uchiha would shoot him to death just with the old man Obito. Obito, aren't we friends? Friends naturally help each other. If you don't want me to help you, then forget it. After saying that, Whirlpool turned his head and left. Wait! Uchiha Obito hurriedly shouted. Without the help of Whirlpool, he can't get out by himself, and if he wants to go out, he can only let Whirlpool help him. In the end, the Whirlpool absolutely attached to him, and Uchiha Obito suddenly felt a powerful force, smashed the rock with a punch, and left. Deep in the cave, Madara Uchiha opened his eyes twinkling brightly. Everything is going according to his plan. As for the final result, Madara Uchiha himself does not know. He is not a god, so it is impossible to calculate everything. When Obito felt the battlefield of the Land of Water, he happened to see Matsushita die at the hands of Kakashi, the same as before, except that no Haruin became Matsushita. Beige, who was watching from a distance, was very stunned. Isn't the plan to let Matsushita die in the hands of Kirito? How did he die in the hands of that kid named Kakashi? It's all dead anyway, so it shouldn't matter, Beige said to himself. Uchiha Obito's eyes were dull and his eyes were out of focus. He didn't believe what happened in front of him. Why would Kakashi kill Panasonic? Although Yahiko Obito didn't know the cause and effect, he knew that Panasonic was dead. Yahiko Obito roared, and the 2 jade writing wheel suddenly evolved into a 3 jade writing wheel. Then the 3 hook jades turned rapidly, and finally connected into one piece, which evolved into a kaleidoscope writing wheel eye. Similarly, Kakashi's writing wheel eye was also affected. The kaleidoscope writing wheel eye flashed away in his eyes. Kakashi groaned, and the sudden mental shock caused him to faint. Yahiko Obito ran wild, looking at Mist Shinobi who was besieging Kakashi. Yahiko Obito released her wooden escape in anger, and several big trees strangled all Mist Shinobi. In the distance, Beige clicked his tongue. Is this really the tale of the crane in the documentation? If a word disagrees, a kaleidoscope evolves, and then if a word disagrees, a wooden dungeon is used. Is the tail of the crane so dangling? Yahiko Obito walked to Kakashi and gave him a complicated look. Obito, do you want to slap him? Uzumaki came out of Obito and suggested to Obito. Yahiko Obito heard the words and looked at Uzumaki coldly. His eyes seemed to eat him. Don't kill, don't kill. Why look at people like this? Uzumaki looked at Yahiko Obito with a grieved. This disgusting voice gave me goosebumps. Yahiko Obito squatted down, reached out and stroked Kakashi's face. His eyes were extremely complicated. Uzumaki stepped back quickly. This guy seems to be a little perverted. Won't he be gay? The frightened vortex must hide away immediately. Such a person is too scary. Yahiko Obito didn't even look at the whirlpool, reached out and picked up Panasonic's body and entered the Shinwai space. Chapter 282 Yahiko who fell into the trap. Take me to see Yahiko Hamadara. A whirlpool wave appeared, and Yahiko Obito came out of it. The whirlpool blinked, and he found that Obito had changed. First of all, the change in temperament. The original stupidity disappeared. It was replaced by the black hair that made the vortex tremble, and the whole person was like a dark death. This change is too big. It should be a different person, right? Said Whirlpool in a low voice. Taking Yahiko Obito back to the crypt where Yahiko Hamadara was staying, Yahiko Hamadara was a little stunned when he saw Yahiko Obito's appearance. The effect seemed to be a bit good, but he didn't expect such a complete blackening. Tell me about your plan. Yahiko Obito said solemnly. The kaleidoscope writing wheel was opened, and looked directly into Yahiko Hamadara's eyes. Ha ha ha. It's funny how a kid dares to speak to me in such a tone. Madara Yahiko laughed a few times, and a coercion pressed on Yahiko Obito. Although Yahiko Obito opened the kaleidoscope writing wheel to surprise Yahiko Hamadara, but in front of Yahiko Hamadara, the kaleidoscope writing wheel was not enough to see. The powerful coercion made Yahiko Obito's body sink, and he subconsciously used the divine power to blur. The pupil technique of the space department is really rare. Yahiko Hamadara finally faced Yahiko Obito squarely. From the double hook jade writing wheel eye, it has successfully evolved into a kaleidoscope writing wheel eye in a short period of time. Yahiko Hamadara has not heard of anyone who has done it. In particular, the awakened Hitamatsu is still space ninjutsu. The power of space ninjutsu is undeniable. His younger brother, Yahiko Izana, died under the flying thunder god slash of the thousand hands Tobirama. This world has been in turmoil since the time of the Six Paths Immortals. Don't you want to end the war and achieve true peace? Yahiko Hamadara took out that set again. In fact, Madara Yahiko is not a very talkative person. He always speaks with his fists. I'm not interested in world peace. Yahiko Obito was about to leave. Don't you want to create a perfect world in your mind? Madara Yahiko spoke again. Yahiko Obito stopped. He was really attracted. He really wanted to change the world and create a world that was perfect in his heart. As for what the perfect world in his heart was, of course only he himself knew. Next, Madara Yahiko told Yahiko Obito about the Moon Eye project, infinite moon reading, and so on. Yahiko Obito also agreed with Yahiko Madara's plan. He doesn't care what is real and illusory, what is dream reality. Even more than reality, Yahiko Obito prefers illusory dreams that can realize everything. After that, Madara Yahiko gave all of his ninjutsu, yin-yang escape jutsu, six-path immortal jutsu, etc. to Yahiko Obito, and by the way, he also secretly left a seal on Yahiko Obito's heart. A few months later, seeing that Yahiko Obito's studies were almost done, Yahiko Hamadara created out of Black and asked him to monitor Obito, and then cut off the pipeline of the outsider golem to convey the vitality, and died. Madara Yahiko's body was quietly hidden by Heiju, just to prevent accidents in the future. Yahiko Obito put on the vortex mask and began to walk the ninja world under the name of Yahiko Hamadara, and couldn't wait to go to Fuji Nagato. I have to say that the Yahiko Obito is indeed dedicated to his work, which also made Heiju relieved. He was afraid that Yahiko Obito would not want to complete the unlimited monthly reading. But I went to find Nagato. Nagato did not flicker, but was driven out by Yahiko. That Yahiko gets in the way too much. Try to get rid of him. Yahiko Obito's eyes flashed coldly. Don't worry about this. Konoha's Danzo seems to have discovered Nagato's reincarnation eye, and now he has teamed up with Hanzo to deal with the Akatsuki organization. We can wait and see what happens. The situation in Konoha is already so critical. Is Danzo still in the mood to do this? Yahiko's eyes flashed with surprise. As everyone knows, it is because of such a critical situation that Danzo can't wait to take action against Nagato after knowing the news of Samsara Eye. After obtaining the legendary Eye of Destruction and Creation, are you afraid that you will not be able to solve the major ninja villages? At this time, Danzo is doing the dream of obtaining the Eye of Samsara, sweeping the major countries, becoming Hokage, and making Konoha the only ninja village in the ninja world. Then leave him alone for now. After he dies, we will guide him while Nagato is helpless. Yahiko said. Nagato, Hanzo invited us to contact us and live in peace with us. Yahiko said excitedly. Nagato, what's wrong with you? Still thinking about what the masked man who called himself Mad are Yahiko said? Seeing Nagato sitting on the ground absent-minded, Yahiko asked with a frown. Nagato didn't speak, just glanced at Yahiko, then shook his head. Nagato, what he said is too extreme, making the world feel pain, and deterring countries with force is not in line with our philosophy. Yahiko persuaded. I listened to Yahiko, but can Hanzo be trusted? Nagato stood up and asked. He couldn't trust Hanzo's character. Hanzo is an old senior in the ninja world, known as a demigod in the ninja world. With his kind of big man, he shouldn't lie to us. If we get the support of Hanzo, then we can get the support of the entire Uran village. At that time, we have a greater right to speak, and maybe we can let the major countries end the war. There was a smile on Yahiko's face, and the smile was a little naive. Nagato didn't speak. He focused everything on Yahiko, and he had no opinion. Yahiko brought Nagato and everyone from Akatsuki to the meeting place and found that there was no one there, which made Yahiko a little uneasy. Be careful. Nagato suddenly felt a crisis and immediately grabbed Yahiko and jumped back. Boom. Looking at the deep hole that was blown out, Yahiko was very afraid. If it wasn't for Nagato's fast speed, he would have been blown up to death. The detonating talisman trap. We were deceived. Yahiko's face was very ugly, and the fool knew at this time that he had been deceived. Ha ha ha. I didn't expect you to be so deceitful. You really dare to come here? Hanzo walked out with a big laugh, and the ninjas of Uran village had already surrounded them. There is also the root of Danzo. Danzo did not come. Now it is at a critical moment for Konoha. No matter how important the Eye of Reincarnation is, he cannot escape. Hanzo, you are a demigod of the ninja world, and you actually plot against us. Yahiko roared angrily. It came with anticipation, but in the end it was this result. At this time, Yahiko's body trembled with anger, and at the same time, he secretly cursed himself for being stupid. The most flustered were the other members of Akatsuki's organization, facing the numerous ninjas in Uinan village. Their bodies were trembling and they didn't have much fighting spirit in their hearts. Yahiko gritted his teeth and shouted, cheer up, they can't stop us, let's go out. Everyone in Akatsuki's organization was silent, and no one believed Yahiko's words. The other party is the elite of Unin village. These wandering ninjas are the shoddy army. How can they fight against the regular army of others? Chapter 283 Yahiko's death. If you surrender, I can let go of the past, Hanzo said lightly, looking at Akatsuki's staff who were thinking about it. Everyone in Akatsuki's organization looked at each other, and finally chose to put down their weapons and stand aside. Only a few people chose to fight alongside Yahiko. Yahiko took a deep breath. He didn't blame those people, he only blamed himself for his incompetence. Yahiko, give you a chance, commit suicide. Hanzo squinted slightly at Yahiko, revealing a trace of murderous intent. In fact, he admires excellent young people, but he is old and his strength is not as good as before. In the face of these talented young people, he subconsciously raises his vigilance, for fear that the other party will replace him. I will never choose death until my ideal is fulfilled, Yahiko said firmly. Ignorance, your ideal, in my opinion, is the funniest joke. Hanzo mocked. You can insult everything about me, but you must not insult my ideals. Yahiko clenched the kunai in his hands angrily. Even the 5 major countries are incapable of achieving peace. What qualifications do you have? There must be a limit to your arrogance. I fought with you. Yahiko was overwhelmed by anger and rushed towards Hanzo. Hanzo was overjoyed, clenched the scythe in his hand, and swung it down at Yahiko. Vientian Tanyan. Nagato hurriedly pulled the impulsive Yahiko back and said, don't be impulsive, Yahiko. He is 437 deliberately angering you. Your name is Nagato, right? It seems that you are the leader of Akatsuki's organization. It's really hidden. Hanzo gave Nagato a deep look. Obviously Hanzo had misunderstood and regarded Nagato as the leader hidden behind the scenes. After all, compared with Yahiko, the calm Nagato at this time was more like the leader. That's right, I'm the leader of Akatsuki's organization, let him go. Nagato pointed at Yahiko. What are you talking about, Nagato? I will never leave. I am the leader of Akatsuki's organization, Yahiko said firmly. No matter who the two of you are the leader of the Akatsuki organization, you will all die here. Hanzo sneered. At first glance, they knew that the two had a good relationship, so Hanzo decided not to let either one go. It is the truth to cut grass and root. Hanzo, let's go. We, Danzo-sama, want that red-haired kid. An elite at the root, Joinin said. Hanzo's eyes flickered with a cold light, and even Danzo's subordinates stared to order him. At this time, Hanzo is not afraid of Konoha. Konoha is now unable to protect himself. Even if he kills this Konoha ninja, it is estimated that Konoha will not dare to say anything. Do it, Hanzo instructed, to solve the Akatsuki organization first. He didn't believe that Danzo, who could not afford to be too early, would help him for free. He wants to see what purpose this guy in Danzo has. Facing the ninjutsu attack of Yunin village, Nagato's face was solemn, and the huge repulsion force repelled all the attacks. Just relying on the move of Shinra Tanzing, Nagato can suppress most of the ninjas, and the Samsara Eye is so powerful. Of course, this is also because Nagato itself is not weak. As a vortex family, Nagato's chakras are bursting, which can be compared with tailed beasts. Yahiko, you withdraw first. I'll be fine, Nagato said. Want to go? You have to be able to go. Hanzo appeared behind Yahiko with a scythe in his hand, and then slashed at Yahiko's neck with a scythe. Because Nagato was blocked by other ninjas, it was too late to rescue Yahiko, so he could only watch this scene with tears in his eyes. The crisis of life and death loomed over Yahiko. His hair stood up all over his body, struggling to avoid the key point, and the blade slashed on his back. A wound of tens of centimeters was opened on the back, and the bone was deep. The most important thing was that Hanzo had smeared poison on the sickle, and this poison is very strong, but after a while, Yahiko felt dizzy, and the wound on his back began to fester. PFFT Yahiko spurted out a mouthful of black blood, looking at Hanzo with hazy eyes. Although he avoided the key point and avoided being beheaded, the final result was the same. Yahiko, who was poisoned, would never survive. What? Nagato erupted violently, roaring, and the huge repulsion instantly killed all the ninjas surrounding him. Hanzo's pupils shrank. This scene was very familiar to him, reminding him of a demon-like figure during the Second Ninja World War, Xiao, who killed 7,000 ninjas with the same moves as Nagato. At this moment, fear rose in Hanzo's heart. Death to me. Nagato kicked the dazed Hanzo and kicked him 100 meters away. The severe pain made Hanzo react. This guy is not Xiao. Even if he has the same ninjutsu as Xiao, he does not have the strength to match Xiao. He has no need to be afraid. After thinking about it, Hanzo's face showed a hint of shame and anger. He actually had a fear of this little devil just now, and now he blushes when he thinks about Hanzo. It's really that Xiao left a deep impression on him. Although he has never played against Xiao, he still has a fear of Xiao in his heart. Hand over the antidote. Nagato helped Yahiko up and looked at Hanzo with cold eyes. A touch of coercion emanated from Samsara's eyes, oppressing Hanzo's body. This kid, what's going on? Hanzo's eyes widened as he felt the pressure. I repeat, hand over the antidote. You think too much, and there is no antidote. Even the strongest medical ninja in the ninja world, Chizutsunade, can't save him. Hanzo said with a light expression as he endured the pressure of Samsara Eye. You. Nagato clenched his fist and was about to shoot. Cough cough. Nagato. You must live. If you can, I want you to help me see the day of peace. Yahiko opened his eyes wide and wanted to take another look at Nagato, but his vision was blurred and he didn't look at him at all. Unclear. Nagato. In the end, Yahiko died in Nagato's arms with unwillingness. Nagato's body trembled, and tears flowed from his eyes. Yahiko was his only friend and his relative. Now that Yahiko is dead, it seems that he is alone in the whole world. Without Xiao, Yahiko is still dead, but in the hands of Hanzo. It can only be said that all this is his life, but compared to the original book, Nagato's legs have not been abolished. I will definitely see the day of peace. This is my promise to you, Nagato said, firmly holding Yahiko's body. You people, let Yahiko be buried with you. Nagato Hitumi ran wild, and the outsider golem was channeled by him. The outsider golem opened his mouth to spit out chakra, and swept all the ninjas in the room directly. Those who were hit by the chakra dragon were all taken away from the chakra and soul. Hanzo looked in horror at the tall outsider golem, which was bigger than the Suzu he had ever seen. Seeing that Hanzo was in a bad situation, he fled without saying a word, and successfully escaped by relying on the extremely skilled telekinesis. Seeing Hanzo fleeing, Nagata roared unwillingly, but did not catch up. Anyway, Hanzo could run away from the monk, but not the temple, and he had already consumed all the chakra, and it was useless to catch up. Chapter 284. Brand new Xiao organization. Holding Yahiko's body, the downpour fell, and Nagato stood alone in the heavy rain. The so-called peace is to rely on strength to fight. If you have the strength that the other Hanzo fears, will he still dare to plot against you? Uchiha walked out with the soil, and the three-hooked jade writing wheel in his right eye bloomed with a strange look red light. Nagato looked at Uchiha Obito. He was not a fool. He knew that the masked man was definitely using him, but it didn't matter anymore. Now Yahiko's ideal is the reason to support him to live. As long as peace can really be achieved, he doesn't mind who he cooperates with and who is using him. Follow up. Obito said, and then turned around and left with force. Nagato followed without hesitation. Since he has made up his mind, there is nothing to hesitate. When he came to Akatsuki's lair, Yahiko Obito took the 10 tails and collected the tailed beasts, and used the power of the 10 tails to deter the ninja world, and told him the way to achieve peace. Nagato also agreed to the plan that the masked man said. When Yahiko died, Nagato's heart was already twisted. He believed that only when people felt real pain would people fear war, and then achieve peace. The plan mentioned by the masked man was considered quite acceptable by Nagato, and it also coincided with what he had in mind. Whether you are Madara Yahiko or not, it's best not to play tricks in front of me. My eyes will stare at you closely. Nagato did not forget to warn the masked man. The name is just a code name. You can call me F in the future. I still have something to deal with. If you are looking for me, come to me through Yahiko Obito pushed Xiao out. We will be a member of Xiao's organization in the future. Please take care of the boss. Beige said with a smile. Hyde said nothing. Looking at this strange onmyoji, Uzumaki Nagato frowned. What is this? Is it really human? If the boss needs any information in the future, feel free to come to me. Although I am not strong, inquiring about information is my strength. By the way, this black guy and I are not alone. At this time, Beige, without being cautious in front of Madara Uchiha, let go of his words. Shut up. Hyde roared in a deep voice. Hyde, do you want to fight? Beige said in dissatisfaction. Humphrey. Hyde snorted coldly, ignoring this idiot. It's just a manufactured weapon of war. There's no need to get angry with this guy. The current Xiao organization should be disbanded. We need elites, not a bunch of trash. As for candidates, let's go to find potential rebels and absorb them into our Xiao organization. After Yahiko Obito finished speaking, he sucked himself into the space and disappeared. The reason why he showed space ninjutsu, in addition to pretending to be handsome, is to shock Uzumaki Nagato. Uzumaki Nagato was indeed shocked. After all, space ninjutsu is notoriously rare. Now Yahiko Obito showed space ninjutsu, which really shocked him. But it was only a slight shock. Nagato, who has samsara eyes, was extremely confident. He didn't believe that he would be weaker than this masked person. Even if Yahiko Obito showed space ninjutsu, Uzumaki Nagato had the confidence to suppress him. In fact, Yahiko Obito's strength is not very strong, but the blurring of the pupil technique and divine power is somewhat incomprehensible. For 99.9% of the people, the blurring is very incomprehensible. Without the kaleidoscope writing wheel eye pupil technique, Yahiko Obito is the strength of Quanying, and even those who are new to the shadow level may not be able to beat it. However, with Madara Uchiha's legacy left behind, now Obito's strength has improved rapidly, and it is estimated that it will not take much time before he can enter the shadow level. Obito left and went to the country of water, and he wanted to take revenge on the country of water. Obito went to the country of water, which also means that Wu Iron Village will enter the era of blood fog, and the 3 generations of Mizukage died inexplicably. Now the 4th generation of Mizukage Ibura has just taken office, and the regime has not yet stabilized. The originally chaotic Wu Iron Village would be even more chaotic if Obito was involved. Time passed slowly, and Xiao organization also joined a lot of people. These are the famous S-class betrayal. For example, the Red Sand Scorpion who killed the 3 generations of Kazekage, such as Jiodu, and another example of the Nawaki. That's right. The Nawaki has joined the Akatsuki organization. Even the guy named Shengshu went to win Rick Xiangchen to join the Xiao organization, but as soon as he saw Rick Xiangchen's face, before he had time to say anything, he was blasted away by the girls. Of course, there is another person who joins the Akatsuki organization, and that is Hinata Hamamura, who is ordered to act. Upon receiving the order of Hyuga Tatsu, Hyuga Hamamura also joined Akatsuki's organization. Nagato made the 6 paths of Pen, killed Hanzo, the leader of Uran Village, and successfully occupied Uran Village. Because of the problem of funds, Akatsuki also participated in the Third Ninja World War as a mercenary. For example, the old guy Jiodu accepted the employment of Onogi several times. This guy, Shengshu, didn't expect to join the Xiao organization. It's really interesting. Rick Xiangchen was a little interested. That idiot, shouldn't he be fooled? Tsunade was a little worried. The Nawaki guy is not a smart person, and it is reasonable for Tsunade to suspect that he was fooled. Don't worry, in Xiao's organization, that guy is fine, Rick Xiangchen said with a smile. There is also Hyuga Umura in Akatsuki's organization, just let him take care of Nawaki, not to mention Nawaki's strength is not weak. What have you been doing all this time? Could it be that you found some wild woman outside? Sarah came to Rick Xiangchen and asked suspiciously. Sarah and Trumim have already been eaten by Hike Xiangchen. Just a few days ago, Sarah ignored it for a while, and Trumim successfully attacked Hike Xiangchen at night. After Sarah was annoyed by this, she also attacked Hike Xiangchen the next night. Although Trumim knew about it, she did not stop it. Anyway, she has succeeded. If she stops Sarah again, Sarah will probably fight her hard. That's right. Come on, I asked Sister Gucci. and she said you didn't enter the system space. Terumim took Xiangchen's arm. Cough cough. Xiangchen coughed a few times, and he wouldn't say that he went to see Kaguya Otsutsuki, otherwise the jealous girls would never forgive him. At the same time, Xiangchen was relieved that Xue didn't betray him. Others didn't know where he went, but Xue knew it very well. One day, I must thank Xue well. As for how to thank her, Xiangchen has already thought about it. There are ghosts. There are definitely ghosts. Sherlock Holmes came over and stared closely at Xiangchen. You are a big-headed ghost. Xiangchen squeezed Juxinai's pretty face. It hurts. You big rascal really hit hard. Juxinai covered her face and took a mouthful at Xiangchen's arm. Nonsense. How can I be powerful? Xiangchen said unhappily when he saw Juxinai talking to him again. Of course, Xiangchen's unhappiness was also faked, in order to divert his attention. Otherwise, with Xiangchen's understanding of the girls, he would definitely grasp the reason why he went out. At this time, Xiangchen couldn't help sighing inwardly at his wit. Chapter 285. A gift for Red Bins. At the end of the Third War, time has passed, and the Ninja World War has come to an end. In the perennial war, Konoha has indeed repeatedly lost and retreated. But relying on the strong financial resources of the Fire Nation, he persevered abruptly. Because of Obito's reasons, Wunin Village had already withdrawn from the Ninja World War, and Yunin Village was also unwilling to temporarily withdraw from the war because of the continuous efforts to cut off supplies by Namikaze Minato. Only Iwainin Village and Sand Ninja Village were left. The pressure on Konoha was greatly reduced, and a counterattack was launched against these two villages. At this time, Onogi shamelessly pits Sand Shinobi and retreats with Iwa Shinobu, leaving only Sand Shinobi and Konoha to contend. Sand Ninja is about to cry. The last time the ninja war was us. Why is it still us this time? You run so fast. Sand Ninja immediately sent someone to negotiate peace, but Konoha did not agree, taking Sand Ninja Village as a punching bag, and he had to vent his anger fiercely. In the end, Sand couldn't bear the pressure and completely surrendered to Konoha. Since the end of the Third Ninja World War, of course, small-scale conflicts still exist. For example, the group of people in Yunin Village go back to cultivate, send 100 or 10 young ninjas, and fight against Konoha again. Stance. However, this is only a small-scale armed conflict, and naturally it is not taken seriously. Compared with the Ninja World War, it is simply a small fight. Sarutobi Hisn saw the end of the war, and was completely relieved. He knew Konoha's situation. If the other party persisted for half a year, perhaps Konoha would become history. Clean up the battlefield and prepare to go back to the village. Sarutobi Hisn said in a deep voice, looking at the tired Konoha ninja. At the end of the war, no one had a smile on their faces. All of them were wearing heavy colors, silently packing up their belongings. In this Ninja World War, Konoha was passively beaten, and the loss far exceeded his imagination. Sarutobi Hisn took a sharp puff with his bong. Konoha lost so much. He had to find someone to be responsible for it. He, the third Hokage, naturally couldn't escape. During his reign, there were 2 wars in the ninja world. Although it was not what he hoped, the sad Konoha villagers who lost their loved ones did not care about this. He, the Hokage, was probably going to sit to the end. Sure enough, as soon as he returned to the village, there were discordant voices from inside the village, and they all wanted Hiruzen Sarutobi to explain. In the face of such a thing, Hiruzen Sarutobi was also very helpless. He knew that someone was behind it, otherwise it would never have happened so quickly. And Sarutobi Hisn also basically guessed who it was. It was definitely that guy from Danzo. As an old teammate of Danzo, he knew Danzo very well. It was not a day or two for Danzo to peep at the position of Hokage, and Hiruzen Sarutobi saw it all in his eyes. Danzo, I won't let you become Hokage. Sarutobi Hisn said silently. He knows that Danzo does have the ability, but he is too aggressive, and it will not benefit Konoha at all. Now Konoha is shaky. It is not suitable for a radical person like Danzo to be Hokage. Now Sarutobi Hisn has 3 candidates in mind, namely, Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Minato Namikaze. Orochimaru and Jiraiya were also his disciples. Sarutobi Hisn naturally turned to his own people, and Minato Namikaze was his disciple and grandson, not an outsider. And the most favorite of Sarutobi Hibiki is Namikaze Minato. Although Namikaze Minato is young, but his strength is not weak, his character is very good, and he has also made great contributions in this ninja war. On the contrary, his most proud disciple, Orochimaru, has a too dark personality, and such a person is not suitable for Hokage. Jiraiya's temperament is sloppy, and it is also not suitable for Hokage's position. Sarutobi Hisn can't imagine what Konoha will become after Jiraiya becomes Hokage. The turmoil is getting bigger and bigger, and Sarutobi Hisn also announced that because he is old, he is about to step down from the position of Hokage, and let the villagers vote for the suitable Hokage. After Danzo found out, he was excited and sent the root ninja out to canvass votes, but the effect was not satisfactory. In the same way, Uchiha Fuyu did not participate in the voting in his own capacity. The result was very embarrassing. The entire Konoha also supported him from the Uchiha family. The angry Uchiha Fuyu smashed several tables. After several days of voting, The top votes were Minato Namikaze and Jiraiya, but Jiraiya had no intention of being Hokage and automatically abstained. And the one with the highest number of votes was Minato Namikaze. This result also made his Aunt Sarutobi very satisfied. He originally wanted Minato Namikaze to be Hokage. Seeing this scene, Okimara felt a little lost in his heart. Although he was not very interested in the position of Hokage, the number of votes was not even comparable to that of Jiraiya, which made him a little uncomfortable. Danzo, who stayed at the root, looked angry. He knew that the position of Hokage was no longer with him. Once the position of Hokage was only half a step away from him, and now he missed the position of Hokage again. With the highest number of votes, Namikaze Minato succeeded in becoming the fourth Hokage, and of course the shortest Hokage. I didn't expect that Sissy to really become Hokage. Konoha's people really have no vision. Actually let Sissy become Hokage. Eh? Kushina, Minato Namikaze is not that girly anymore. Xianchan said in a low voice. Let us go, the fourth Hokage will never let you go. The two Yuki people shouted loudly. If you make any noise, I will kill you if you make more noise. Hongdu's eyes were full of fierceness, staring at the two Yuma people, Samui, Mabui, and the famous hero of San Ninja Village, who were locked in the cage. Leaf warehouse. Where did this come from? Hearing the sound from outside, Xianchan went out, looked at the four girls who were locked in the yard, and asked dumbfounded. He asked his four apprentices to go out to practice for a year, but he didn't expect to give him such a big surprise when he came back. Hongdu came over and dragged Xianchan to the next corner. How about teacher? Knowing that you like beauty, we will catch 4 beauties for you to repay the teacher's kindness for training. Xianchan tapped Hongdu's head lightly. You are all causing me trouble. I don't have conscience. It's obvious that it's cheap to sell well. Hongdu said through gritted teeth. Tsunade, Mikoto, Kushina, and the others all looked at Xianchan with expressionless faces. Why are you looking at me like this? It's none of my business. Xianchan was very innocent and wanted to cry without tears. He did not give such orders to several apprentices. You dare say that this is not what you ordered? Let the apprentice help you. The woman. TSK. Tsunade looked at Xianchan with contempt. Scumbag. Love the new and hate the old. Mikoto walked over, shook her head at Xianchan, and said, I can't find any words to describe your scum. Hong Yui, Rin Nohara, and Yuzuki Uian stuck their tongues out to Xianchan, then pointed at the red beans, indicating that they were all dried red beans, and it was none of their business. You can figure it out yourself. Kushina entered the room angrily. The girls entered the house one after another, and soon Xianchan, Mute, and 4 female apprentices were left in the yard, plus the 4 who were locked in rock cages. Well, it doesn't seem to be my business, right? Mute scratched his head blankly, and then ran into the room. Xianchan looked at Mute with black lines all over his head. This girl is really stupid. Let's just form a second dumb combination with Red Bin. 1 stay. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. And join my Patreon if you want to support me, where you can find advanced audiobooks that hasn't been uploaded on YouTube till now. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.